discuss topic bi a ehu hia pa ewo ya brabo mu ya sitene mu ewo ya relationship mu ya warie mu I mean ya sitene mu ade a ehu hia bebre I say nansen Ghana ha say nsoso topic a model wa son eto form a obehu say ade a ekoso bebre intino ye be discuss about abuse. You better discuss about abuse. See, you say abuse a dear ne abuse. In say abuse dear. You physical abuse. You psychological abuse. Your son will be so your friend emotional abuse. Into no, you better discuss sa enyema when you na into no tune in men's station no. Now before you better cut your discussion no so no. You better cut Shadrach so let us be wo hono mo a obe ready ede amaye enti Shadrach sa wotemenka.
Okay Jayana said ya Jayana tray mu no sesi ano eno ene yesi efin aba na edie eno na da apono so eno bia etwitwa na etutu ne sere ene abasa relationship abuse enti no medical akan let us aba no mekan na yewia ya do nsem no mu esuko ye ne apostle ne counselor ye guest or ha obe cheche ye nsem no bebre first letter ye no me kind of bro from o say dear Adwenipa, I am 28 years old and married just last year. I have dated my husband for 4 years before we got married. He has a hot temper, but I didn't equate it to abuse in future. 1 year in marriage, my husband beats me for the slightest thing I do. I told my parents about it and they told me to pray. He will change. I told my pastor and he told me he will change and that I should stop doing the things I do that makes him angry. What should I do? We free oba ba kohona odiaba. We nso so second letter no or say Yvonne is now battling for her life. She was madly in love, in fact, obsessed with her baby daddy, who is corporal in the army. My first time meeting her was when I paid a visit to my aunt. From afar, I could hear them argue in their room. Well, who was I to ask what the issue was, or perhaps meddle in someone else's marital affair? The argument now turned into a bitter fell as both flared up. Whom do I call to help? Aunt isn't around. No neighbor was responding to the calls. Finally, they came out to display on the compound as the baby daddy tears Yvonne's top apart, pulls her braided hair and slaps her on the face and kicked her to the ground. Things were that grotty. Apparently, this has always been the routine. Neighbors around say they've witnessed how abusive the baby daddy is, but Yvonne always defends him anytime they try to report or ask her to leave the relationship. Hence, their pullback. They have vowed never to meddle in Yvonne's issue anymore because it looks like she still wouldn't listen or care for her life and her little daughters. The situation repeated itself today, and unfortunately, Yvonne suffered a twist on the neck during the fisticuff and has been rushed to the hospital. Enti letter ID kan ba no abaya when you 28 years if in fear eduonu wotwe na ono tremu a waware ni kunu afie atwa mu ya 2021 ya ye free mu eba yi na be ma no wadi kan ne natena mfie 9 dada na saa time no anase saa ebre na obi be kan se ye twempna na se omutu aware ho anamo no niama nketinkiti bi a oye ye ebufuo ho niama anase ate no na ono oba no wamfa ne se asem wenhunu se da ma bi no de insusuanso boni bi ebebre nti ono de ofi se dada efie asem ye bi nti on de ojan emane ekai na afe a oware no nyade kawa ne ehye ne nsa se kim aware no afe e na omo etwa afe enso so onhunu so be ma no sori a ochen ordinary brass band ebro anopa ewiane anwumre osine so ama sesi ano we prepare okoko ka kire na wofo nso so a na wofo se ebe ye tena ho wakwa akoka kire sofo nso se bo ho mpae na jai niama na wo ya wo de hye ukunu ebufuo no jai ebema ukunu ejai wo ebro no aso dia awofo ye kan ana se dia asofo yi kan no na oba bedi so ya hwe makan ba akon nso so a eye obi nso so ono nso nikunu abo ne sa nikunu bu no nkrofo ka se onjai no nko na awofo ho a o se nikunu be sesa wansesa ma sisi ano ne komu ala na webu a yede na kwakoto ayaresa bia sansem we nyina no ne fare ba yankasa ne sen na ehimfa na ekọ akwakọ wiem Jayana ma yehu hwan na ye ne eba betwetwe nkomo na yemfa nkomo na enhyehyɛ so
yo meda say anapay counselor na ye ne eba betwetwe nkomo yi ye frɛ no Apostle Thomas Kusi-Appiah a council ya ma akwaba also IFA
also I show TV so and the machine.
Oh, I'm blushing. Okay, it's counselor from letter Shadrach Okenkan obetimi ama yen emu nchiremu kakra anase wadwen efa letter yin.
Okay, things I may find chia KCM original TV ahwefo nyina Jayana any Shadrach things say and say me say me tia na me raho. And especially we should be free but not also for transit yeah bro obi ba tie ne yepa obi ba akwa ware na we should nyame adweno de hyehyɛ ware na nka ware nyonyam in fact we read Hebrews so say marriage is honorable among the father nyame ani so de nka ye nyonyam ade nka sombo pa ware na ade sombo ne adane bosen render yeah bro obi na osofo aka kyerɛ se gyae de wo ye na odi hye na bufuo no at the source of the class I was right
yeah
the source of the kind no gyae de wo ye no and ehona measures here free because that is one of the major problem I want the moment about say obi abuse obi abro obi edi dwuma bi enye no quickly na ye blame nipa no say dey na wo ye yenti a oye sa now ade about come tata chenkrofo ni suban bi a wo da na die bia ewo mu yenti sunya de wa hanne suban bi a ade a enum entimi mpie da na no kenkan bible o se ye yesu sese nua so ohwe no eni mesi nyina wo so wantimi emi na no andome wo mo edi entia na no me nya dan eni ni mu now suban no etese ne enfubu be say banche say you enyu eja ene tre sa na nipa suban tie esu ewo mu no eja ne tre enti when you are provoked etese de edija e kan no enti sa na mo no obi tu no eja ho ma eja se sa sunu ni mu a nipa no tu na mo ne se den so me ni mema bebre a obi se me yire ye na age me yire ye se ya o sati ye na esanse ebro ni we ni nimtu o fa na atade gu no konwa no aiden no wapie okotena ba bi ama na koma ton because ade a won nwene ho dane se me yi me sabo but wo hun se eyenim guase ma me bema se me tene me sa abo ba na ntia se wo no enti waka no won se me oba pa de no matter what enti regardless of the bibe ye no onye reso betene ne sa enti se utimi tuo na motene won sa then the first no so tell say e wo mu dada okay ho na ma bebre ntimi sesa no instead of us to address our personality address our shortcoming we rather attack people when some nyamre so bible say you any simple na so akwa de woko you obi de chire no matter na mo nipa na to I'm not here to justify ebi anamontu because sometimes you to tin adwene pa se wa share oba na be ma otiti nipa ebi tumi di nipa fat team but regardless of nipa ni suban no ade also oti asese de ewo mu no na wo da na di obi e wonom nsa me no obi e wonom nsa ntini ma me afiri ni papa afiri won fa san kana no da se wo konom nsa no rora oh na nka me nom nsa no na de me ma me firi no suban ni mu ni mu enti ade a me di kan aka ne se obi bia wo hwe yen se wo tu sa na mo ebi sa wo bro wo yere se wo ye bibi ate ase de di kan subani wo mu na ehun eja ne kan na wa de wo tu anamo no so recognize it and start working on yourself what you are saying now mama nka bibi wo ha one of the things over the period me ta training the reason why people abuse according to my small can say me was when purpose is not known abuse is inevitable ade ba ko amani petutu anamo eseniema it's when you don't know the purpose of a thing. You see, what kind of Ecclesiastes 3:1 or say adie bi we ase bi on a purpose. There's a purpose for everything under the sun. Adie bi, but unfortunately for us, there are many things around us we don't even know the purpose. Nyame de ye, especially women. You know, I've had the opportunity to educate women and men. One thing most men are not aware, especially warrior. I tell people, the day you decided to marry, you decided to change your destiny. Because the whole concept of marriage laid down one, baby, or baby, I won't see, I won't what is called, Jayana. The woman, Talbert studying and what they say criminal. You've elected that woman into an office called the office of the wife. Just like you know me, 2024, you was a lie. So about to be there. You could choose to be a friend president. You had leave the office of the president just 5 years ago. Now, Papa be the Mahama, Neboa, on His Excellency. So the care bar, Nanado, ever packing a car. Dear Nasa sign, so Nanado, the care bar, Papa Mahama, be packing a car, because one has now been elected into an office of the president. Their rules are Yasha. There are the opportunities there, and near mass of my Yasha say, you do be Rasa office here, so open asem, and need ye the Bemanuni, and now better Casimir or the Kefia to man, ye took me a man, executive powers. That office, no, and the ma and ne papa, papa Nanado, Kemua, His Excellency Mahama, ebe packing a car. You be until even though I call that office leader, but the moment to free that office, no, 2 me be a day, a free instant. Adia yenimuni adabe waru oba say team there's an officer would now occupy which most men are not aware. Remember the brain sir. So I tell people marriage now who say oh tia share ka be hu sa da won ko waru oba no o sound destiny. The same thing. Oba so ma be ma waru wa odura office no quickly me come mad there and because of abuse into no me nche e me ma no at least be ma bi o hwe ntia share oba bi a waru no say wo do no say wo no no so bi okọ to oba na nyem share no na me mpe no e na me waru regardless of the situation the circumstances are a lead to marriage no you've married the person into an office. Unfortunately for you and I, that office was not determined by me, but now carry impeachment and I process constitution. Nyamina na sheshe dia to. Tienie pa. And into Nyamre kind the book of 1 Peter chapter 3 or make a very profound statement and the member be a worship in 1 Peter chapter 3 verse number 7. Mementi. Osbema wawaru oba so the office of the wife needs no ti the oho. Husband likewise dwell with them with understanding. Adi edi kan say bomodi so benya ntiase ama oba no. Which means oba na montuo nyina no don't even try to say oh be fight but rather look for what you call understanding. 2, the giving honor to the wife. Once and a lot of teachings say it because a macro secondary product. I said me the mountain of be preaching and okay and my macro your bomb my warrior and your warrior can master go back to your Bible school. What feel it? In fact, one of the things I know my child said the reason why most people are even abusing their wife also is in wrong interpretation of scriptures. There are many counselors today, many pastors today who always almost Bible as and almost warrior say they start from Genesis chapter 2. Who yourself now will share me. Now we'll warrior say from Genesis chapter 2 go back to the Bible school. I'll come there. Because you our warrior say. But mean come into Dinaminian same assistant so the office of the wife needs no for need ye a mobile. Who said over your mom remember me for need mama. Ye boom man is 7 a mabe warrior. Men hey, dear into Yankopon na as a shower, two Shadrach for say. The moment I can but worry. And it's in here. The moment I can work was your baby son. A commando. But what they say would need you are willing and ready, ever ready to honor that woman. And when you talk of honor, and you joke, when you say about honor, no one can say more and yes, and to which means I would need you so booba. Didn't you remember cancer or bar? Send a year member to bar. Nobody say can make us a crown because the Bible say, unya show back a wa. No, Baba, your area. But more they say, we didn't need ye ebemano. A very important statement here. As the weaker verse, and as being heirs together of the grace of life. Jayana, you know, and my baby craning. One time I'm here in church of my back to Ubuntu Wusu. Because we who's a sound now semi ministry. The moment Tauba Waro was such a rakutie, and no project ready anymore. A DB of PBA, you can ask for God the amount. The moment Tabawaru about sick, you know, so the woman is now a co-heir to your grace of life. I don't be a money was as no, or you don't have your partner or co-heir spiritually. enti ade bia wo be bisa Nyankopon no se wo yire ne wonya adwa wo san kan da e na mema bi renim no ti bo so obi wo the ministry se wo yosofo wo yo nyuntuni wono ko anam wo bo ne bra anointing ye adwuma the moment obe wari say twim no bi asate ko nechi was oba ne ba lock no your office na be she or the executive powers to change your destiny. And because we are part of the grace, which means like only Jayana must be bank accounts, now we are partners. You cannot just pick a bank check and sign without the other person's signature. Which means I give you an end can quote me Bisano and don't quote me said you. The two of you must agree. So margin is here, the over be said be an so with the train, I bring you a back ready and say ready and here you know, no check where you are, no check where you are. Does your wife agree that answer is no? And in time remember or quiet dinner you can say Mira, I did a misro men quiet or Bema quiet say Kim any or boss do you before never before. A office and Yamido Bashe. A spiritual thing I say.
Or bounces our son be Bruno say,
yes, because you need them because you don't understand certain things. What is and then you partner say Yamina say. That's when Yamisa will say, make sure you honor that wife because if you don't honor her, aside her being part of your grace, no, there's another important thing. Sa oba na wako ware no time with person me point because and me bet me person me give to journey also. Bana wa apart from so be your hen. The second important thing is one pie bossa for ekita no. That woman can close the heavens on your head. And I have me to also that we can first chapter 3 me can verse 7. The last is that your prayers may not be hindered. Every wife have the power to close the heavens on the husband. Now watch it. If people don't know, and to abandon who you saw body strong, no. What we hear there, I was saying,
Apostle, Mami Chawa no. Emra, me producer, a day fly away sending me no, made it to social media, and the feedback that was coming in or were coming in, no, it was just unbelievable. In some way, I work in no. I made the say, only counselor pay now say suffer. Into which part of the Bible are your colleague men of God reading? Are your church brethren or sister churches reading? That is making them still advise people to live or stay in abusive relationship. Or let me add this: would you even agree? Say the church is a major contributory factor. Sorry, no, I can't title. And our manipa bebre eti eye aware and say relationship a de ebro any etutrasem enam.
Of course, that will make that wrong interpretation of scriptures have contributed to a lot of some of these problems I face and so for instance, America ye share trim say a macra de we create me time a madina na be mate ono aya ankonam ene yame ball oba edne be kan and when America say who define and who church white marriage now who share say free the book of John chapter 2 who of not of about to Bible school and there are many even many so-called counselors around for church now will show more because some of them no I as to say no a social knowledge no akwaje they don't have the spiritual knowledge. What I say me whatever when you want to talk about a product the major thing you need is a manual. Do you hear phone way? Tieni Jayana ne Shadrach. Only more. And so turn the brand new bone say or the manual shame. Utachoti. We share with the only more. We didn't hear. Didn't to buy hand fast. Manual do her. Wapao. Me cry na me tell reading na. Me sure say because me so phone man what me reading.
I don't at all. Who they who reading? Me share say.
But the baby wa ha. Manual na odi she didn't odi shame. Or the needing up to product lesson. Or the reputation up to so. Say you no care for say techno phone. So we turn enye dwuma mo ase ne ose ya na ni madu ase to oto ne bo ase trust ani ma nyina se ne be ya ebra wu read no ebe bo mo nya ntiase about the product na what benefit you every man will have just 3 parts you distribute product no ma ni actually they use is how to benefit and how are we to destroy product no patriotic ni pa now so we to phone no so me phone enye water resistant you fan tun shum now we project tun shum say ya now also now so do you blame the manufacturer? But here's the point. The first person to show manual in your Bible that way, I tell people it's not a religious book, it's a manual. Bible, the general Bible in a 3-part. But God describing his product. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. We watch the benefit. The first person to show manual in your And to what also but say be about the Yamia. especially marriage, which you know was not instituted by human beings, but by God. Now, so much, and yet you want to throw the man away. That's a whole problem. And this unfortunate thing across the there are many pastors today who are talking about marriage, and yet they're using social and custom and we can mamre cultures.
And that's also the experience or not.
Yes, any mamre, and that is the beginning of our problems. I've seen a lot of men of God. We are trying to. Unfortunately for us, there's a year can say most pastors are the cause of marriage problems and because Shadrach, Jayana, Maba say be person worry. Marriage is between the two of you, Now me dey hear better me chain, and I me hear there, and I me forgetting say, enya me hear na Shadrach be worry.
Enya mo asem na ye.
Enya Jayana, be worry me. Because nipa na is Gina Hono, he is totally different. What you are saying, but quickly, me make this point. Come here, Canada. Marriage at the Yami Bob Bema say king no worry in the book of Genesis chapter 1. Marriage was created right when God was creating. A friend saying Nipa. I mean, show be quickly. Now, if you mean to us, it was Genesis chapter 1, verse number 27. Very important statement. And the problems, we say, I tell pastors, the Bible is a key on its own. It opens itself. Most of the problem you face, most people use assumptions. The problem is that someone come to know, or can you say, no, about break, more than arguing. Trust, you know what you name the Troy. Bible now you key. Any scripture we read the is a key unto itself. It can open itself. So learn and study the Bible within itself. So Genesis chapter 1 verse 27, there's a mystery there. So God created man. Near about break. Near Shadrach and him. It's your member of Bema. Patching your Bema or Tierney American answer. And Bible hey. God created man. The simple question, who is this man? And you make an answer. Don't rush. Don't use assumptions. Read the Bible. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. It's man, no man is different for her. Him. Still, don't use your assumptions. Who is this him? Check it. Male and female, he created them. And you may boss up them, you can watch them, or can you in the boom? Male and female. So man, according to you, show me when you see the word him alone, or you see he created them. We were not referring to man. That man was two in one. You see, now the greatest way you say, or you count the male and female. It's talking about your spiritual and your psychological elements. It's Yame Kauba, Arjun, and home, no Bema, boom, no, the boss, Abema. That's why your marriage foundation understanding. You can't be worried anything. You mean you are gliding a sheer. How can two work together except they agree? Whenever there's no agreement, you don't have marriage.
So for Mammy means me, I made the same. Yes, shall say no. Yan shall say we did not start with social aspects of abuse. I mean, yan shall say what the air who if you now ya shall say when yan hoopon if you shall say was sorry anymore. Would you also agree, or will you say the church is engaging in a game of hypocrisy? Sorry no nyatrum na sheyema because asofo bebre ti ho no onim se aware a me ware Jayana idie me deny mojedro me bu na nopa me bu na awia me bu na nwumre enso sofo ti ho no osuro se Bible say ni ayaka abomu no mo bia antitim enti no osuro se asotwe a wo saa ho no ebeba ne so enu nti na asofo bebre na akomo anu atum na Jayana enye hwe wo de pepa eni ni so na kotena enyame beye Shadrach besisa na wasaba na abro no na okọ na sofo ti ho meken ono mo ne yire o one ne yire te ema ye no aduane ma ne di
asofo nko ebo
enu de e wo
eba enim da bia
enu de e wo osofo bo na me masem na aba na me de akwa ma sofo nim se obai ye bo no enso so osetena ho because osuro se ade echi a ye beka se sofo Thomas and two Jayana for say Jai Shadrach. Is it not just a game of hypocrisy?
Yeah, you see, now I'm trying to about the same thing. Whether hypocrisy, whether it is lack of knowledge, it's all because we intimate the basic call Yamia Junior or the shower. I just read the scripture right now. Now I'm going to elaborate quickly. Let me tell you, Yami Bawaran or between male and female. So the quick questions we also for now with this understanding now. Pachawuti, anybody remember when Nimua or be raising any issue, no, you see said fundamentally, no, or kasa are destroying male and female way, then there's no marriage. So for instance, you can be a male and they train everybody Sometimes God created the male and female or put them together. That was the foundation of marriage. To call you sexual rapidity, the first one you bear and just so you male. For you to be a male, sometimes your spiritual and psychological, and you certain understand conviction you must have. So until so be your santias, when you're in relationship, anything you must understand you are a husband. So to a CA, so you male at the channel, I have an exclusive duty to only my wife. Then maybe you male, no, that's the first understanding. Which means from many pedia to be I am a ready. Two, me a father. You don't give birth to become a father. I understand you myself. Father means source, which means I did be a free mover. It's my duty to protect and provide for it. It's an understanding. And it's a very who saw Bema, then you're not a father. And if you're not a father, then you've broken your foundation as a male. You don't qualify to marry. 3, I'm a priest or software. Bema be or maybe who's your software. Meaning you see me software, then I say, mommy, and it's me, I'm sending more bar. And if you meet any man, such as that way, now exhibiting malehood unqualified for marriage. The same way Jayana to for her to qualify for marriage, she must be a female. Yes, she's a woman with all the physical qualities or no way, but for her to qualify for marriage, she must be a female. Anything, she must also have that understanding, psychological understanding that I am a wife. Okay. Understanding I have an exclusive duty to only my husband. And tell me, or maybe see me that maybe see me cheat on me. Me now break that foundation of wife and a husband. So if you're a husband, you will never cheat on your husband or wife. The Bible, 1 Corinthians chapter 7, will say a husband does not have authority over his own body, but the wife. Which one? The only authority was a wife does not have authority over her own body, but the husband. To your wife, you have an exclusive duty to your husband. 2, she's a mother, which means she has that responsibility towards her home. And finally, she's a prophetess. And to obey also, marriage is not between a man and a woman. It's between a male and a female. So it is at that level, and about you to share, and not just your first time, man obey. That's over the years you're failing. So make up a sister. Make up a sister. Yeah,
so even the church, you would agree the church has failed.
Because what one who shares an average Christian on the street. Now we busana about marriage. Oh, Nim said, may your bema me worry and may call worry. No, God did not create marriage between just a man and a woman. It's now yes Christ he share no Matthew chapter 19. For as if for crossone she create man really go for Matthew chapter 19, verse 3. The Pharisees also came to test him and saying to him, is it lawful for a man to divorce his wife for just any reason? Now they were looking for just a yes or no answer from Jesus. Now, questions what you say will be similar to my worry point and I'm so for you to even think of saying then there's a problem. Now to solve it, look for the problem. Now the question of abuse, the question of divorce, they are all symptoms. It's an evidence there's a problem somewhere. It's just like when you're headache, no call hospital. A good doctor will not just tell you, Kofa Panadol, Kofa we know. No. That headache is a symptom of a problem in your body. So we'll find out when you're malaria now, to better test body, when you be a fever now, when you're constipation now, to obuse our president, what you're like, and what you say, or the diagnosis, then air cross society by before somebody drove the town. They were asking, so this person is about abuse, about divorce, all these problem, marital issues. There's a fundamental error. And over the years, so we are trying to, most of our counseling is channeled to solve the symptoms. You are just solving a symptom. Go down there and solve the fundamental problem. What's the fundamental problem? So when they ask Jesus, can I beat my wife? Can I divorce my wife for any reason? Listen to the answer, verse 4. And he answered and said to them, have you not read that he who made them at the beginning made them male and female, not man and a woman? The main person said, tell me any problem about what we're doing. So I will be awesome. It shows that on your father, no father, and a better son, I'll put the also protecting. It's your duty as a father to protect your wife, to protect your children, not to abuse them. So it's just a mere evidence saying you are not a father. And if you're not a father, male shaping will breaking it down. So I'm about watch it on the so and I'll tell when your husband. But if your husband you have that understanding, you will never cheat on your wife.
Apostle, you can't abusing. Debi a me can say, ye no mu bebre, ye de nyamesum, ene asori, ene ya chichiri ye ho, ye ne age Nyankopon aboso. Obi kan omo wo wiase mo sebe. say ono odo nsa akoka ne say pa ofa ne bag a I'm gone. And so Jayana feel say me na de bia me bebo mpaye wa sorry me na me lead prayer meeting me na me to nyom wa sorry me na me paper sofo efie enti no se nkrofo kra hwe me youth for so leader ni me wo position wo meko me wo position wo aha enti se me kokojai aware a one looking at fingers that will be pointed at her because she is a Christian enti no ene obe tenemu sa me de ye nuaba osinachi Nigeria nyintuni emfaton because o share ni die yi a ne manu mpo echemu se na ehya ase ache ama omo papa mpo aka ache omo se obu oba a cars ye de ma ne maami a enye ni kunu ene toye no ne mani chemu se omo papa na age ama papa ni twi car na omo timu a omo hu omo maami okwan ho a omo san ho omo ma ne mfo. The abuse has been going on. This is someone who is singing her heart out, bringing heavens down to change people's abusive marriages. And she is still living in hers. Do you as a counselor, wow, do you subscribe to Live and Live? Free our na first, would you, I want a yes, or do you subscribe to that?
Shadrach, Bible said that on all these answers. God he divorced, but God accepts separation. Now watch it. Mamia said by the first time meeting, I'm not going to say Mamia heaven crown Kobe.
I'm in heaven on
I'm sure I want to mean Kobe. Say I'm because I am passing some year no cry. Then I'm sorry to tell viewers, I'm sure heaven crown to me Kobe. The drift of life, ne, anything used to be Uji or Kwaji. I don't say man who have to do life, who commit suicide. No tie nye no where to you ya becho say ka wa nkwa ade nyame nsoso so ne se wo wo betitu life how much more so obi bekum na wo gina ho se kumi na se wa mu of course so a part of suicide na mama na ye no if over the period a bro year bu we ni we nyina you've seen it and you couldn't run for your life then you are part of the suicide mission.
So you subscribe to Live and Live,
and you live and live. There's what we call separation. That doorway is there. That look in marriage, say me who say na make say there's a foundation for marriage. So if then there's a Jayana Abame in chain, no or mommy references to issues, especially when it's an abuse, everything are taken in life. The first thing a man of God you must do is to separate them. Jayana, call mommy to now mommy chain, papa to na not what started almost self counseling because knowledge.
Counselor, me nchwa no. Also sometimes no, ebi wo ho no mo ana emma no ansana omo betu anamon kra po say bia omo kwa seek for help and as omo akọ counselor no most of times na ya mema ni titiri no e breaki omo self esteem ne omo confidence enti no oba no ebedum pempenso a obe decide say opese ofi aware nim and as o seek help no that time na mentally no she's not stable.
Very true, but you see and also cry no na me chedo na me come be say it's even start from the point say most pastors today your man marriage I a purpose. I'm sorry to tell you. The way and the maybe who are as if marriage is everything.
Yeah. It's a crown.
Yes.
It's never true. See, I tell people, yes. I'm one pastor, me chaba purpose. Now when you understand purpose, you know it's a purpose. There's no bearing of marriage on purpose. There's no bearing of education. There's no bearing of money on your purpose. Which means, the immediate dream, you are doing your seminty or no bus as you know, Jayana. The immediate show, whether you worry or don't worry, you must still live your purpose.
Yes.
Whether you you must still live your purpose. Whether you must still live. Your purpose so unique. Say education cannot destroy. Travel should be one school that, but will make it great impact. The immediate dream and only one of the fundamental errors and they be braining. In fact, we see an average woman on the street now. The whole life is centered on marriage. It's no obi. Our real one year, you know. Of listen, the whole life has ended. Yeah. Forgetting said there's something in me and your immediate dream. That's a wrong interpretation. Scriptures in that account. You're defining marriage as you said, and then the only thing that you make marriage a purpose. Then Jesus was the useless person on earth, so he didn't marry. His children. A defined purpose. Jesus was the most useless person. One woman. But aside one to me, ye dear. Now, many swans on me to the sense of what's in your squad say it is finished. My real majuma. Which means only probably a WT and TRC and ne. Aside our and our person called Warren. Nyami di bibi a jewumu. I would do pass as we say. This is one of the clear messages said will be here. So that when obi obi be sawa braba, who say whatever was asase tie nie pa asase me nyam di wabasu. You see, for instance, who said down here them e jam say ade bi e wo ha bi me sure say orientative when you Scarborough so no come to be here. Even as human beings, ade bi e wo ha bi we bought it or they brought it here for a purpose, for a reason.
Yeah. How
much money Yankopon? Ecclesiastes 3:1 na medical quote earlier. Was nyame was hot so ade bi obo with a purpose. There's a reason to Jayana was as so. There's a reason to Shadrach was as so don't reduce your life to marriage. Which is unfortunately an average woman on the street. And to be sure be the wire boss but won't define and won't find any all because now warriors and
but I think so we should also go back to the fundamentals.
Of course.
Say Ghana has say no or Africa no. You're busy your whole life any are they on marriage. What say oh your ba na unyi na drum pempen so bia our parents, that is Africa has some your parents no started no more kakangu wasum and na waso aware and na na worry ye and tina ababa like you're saying ya dream any ye need that so any ye bibia no ababa ye say one warrior forgetting say like you're saying say your purpose no e wo ho and na warrior no so ejina baby but you say na warrior na ababa taking our entire life. Into so your banner one warrior, even though now you are fulfilling your purpose, but one warrior now aqua baby and also so there now.
So yeah, we ought to have to that's what also it me and read the orientation, no, and was yes, son over the period. There are even churches today who remu now so by yourself for Nabibia, you must marry. Warrior crime, you bet yes to crime because also worry. But you see, Mamma be one time yes to hear marriage seminar. Or church our yesterday church ye. Oh Matthew chapter 8 where we are American ya. And then the disciple Bakoban in church crying. Verse 10. His disciple said to him, if such is the case of the man with his wife, it is better not to marry. See, there are some disciple in Kanye. Was say pan our yet here. Some na make a tree. Ebi na make us oba na okofano no. Obi also suffer and Bible go between sleep crying. Who we see that woman can shut your whole life down. Matthew chapter 19 verse 1. His disciples said, if this is case there, and then when he has our crying, that's why he used to cry. This verse 11, but he said to them, all cannot accept this saying, but only those to whom it has been given. For the Enochs, you can know, sir, or more. Yes, and I want to be buying the Enochs who were born thus from their mother's womb, and the Enochs who were made Enochs by men, and the Enochs who have made themselves Enochs for the kingdom of heaven's sake. He who is able to accept it, let him accept it. Until yes, you crumple can worry once and caveat to all, marriage is never compulsory. But today, and let a sorry be a warrior compulsory. Sabra to a man, Sabra not be a friend. Sabra say, who you know, and Jayana to a book of friend, who you know now, Bema Ben, our radio compulsory. That makes a marriage has no bearing on your purpose.
And say video be by social media. So for say a man and worry any Mumrana, on Mompaye, and far a mom. Na omobeto santin wie no de nsabo nsuo ma o de bo omoma so a go marry you are wasting my time go marry you are wasting my time you are being useless sao enti nipa saa no sofo na oftentimes pressure have become their role models
right.
E ka che say ko worry you are wasting my time na they literally relegate you to the most
of them like I said don't even understand like I said marriage and the principles of marriage. And they don't know. I'll tell people, marriage will take a lot of people to hell than we and cocaine.
But hope you.
Marriage will take a lot of people to hell than we and cocaine. The entire, idea be a wood nimun a purpose, no? Oh, you know why you need here. You see, Yankopon Hatterstone, he's a God of principles.
Yeah.
Now, let me make this even statement that most people don't know. Marriage is more important to God than you. And sometimes when I'm talking about marriage, you will never push anybody to marriage. No. You need to rather teach the person. Now, only to make a decision. You don't make marriage compulsory. Why? Because only Panabra Bobo can come down because of marriage. So when Yantia and for our reading in America, just chapter 1 review was he created the male and female. Don't forget before the say he created him in his image. So the male and female now with the image of God, right? And it's Jayana to the image of God. Not Shadrach, the image of God. They are able together. One image in the issue. So the first purpose of marriage is to show the full dimension of God. But an average marriage is show the full dimension of the devil. Because before crab baby shiabe was no matter. Which means what to nyame asma to actually. The man will not say, don't even sleep with the woman. No, what you can crash shutting down. And to you declare missing chain after the yawari. And instead of us to marry and show the full image of God, today we marry to show the full dimension of the devil in our lives. In churches today, or be question of a year bomb, I yes and a warriors on you. And we just saw them, yes and a warrior. That's how the very crack at telling him. Very next, I will say, or by your John Shadrach, me who hold that. Nyamini asa fuma yi na eni mo yam dance for
and say sorry I working dan me catch obi nipa no say me kote wen because I know say vela and I say ntare a ye hye e de ware no
what mean
interase
yes
until no sorry nka say me for white and I me pe pink and I say me pe green na makwa akɔhye o hye veil sorry I work no because me nya sofo de ba me kai say me twemu Bible ni mu ba bia o kire say emfa nyinsen emba me gina altar enim emeye mboso empire owie na nyinsen kwose anase okowo na se sebio kafra akala ni wu a ye beka se onu na akwa akoku no. All these things are also coming back and then being interpreted in the form of abuse. Because said Jayana Kafri, I shall say abuse no, it be a physical, it be emotional, yes. It be a mental. But so far semba konsuso okana echiche mason kakra no has to do with the separation and then the divorce bit. Because say me fa wasem igina wasem sana borrowing your words no. We can say obi wo ho a and I say obia suban bia obeda na di no enye nkwanhia ade etu mu it's innate, it's personal disposition enti say mabu Jayana ene mabu no china mabu na de chie na Sofo Thomas kase Jayana ko o maame ho na Shadrach nsusu tina ofie now we should go through counsel yansa ni omo nko kase bioma ede na kire se ade ya ye misuban ede na kire se oba Mensa embono. Is Bible person. Against divorce? Very important. Why can't you just say Jayana?
Yeah, because Bible no one is solutions. Everything that happened on the solution. Who nimua? I said we told her yare required the hospital yare. Who the fear why they were patrolling now watch it. Adia ba ko yentia shini. Shadrach awutu every human being operate on 3 levels. You are a spirit. And you that also Diana. You are a spirit. Whether you like it or yes, you are a spirit. You have a mind. So you're a spiritual being, you're a psychological being, and you live in an environment who physical body and you interact with things. So you live in an environment, so you call it so a spiritual, you're a spiritual being, psychological being, sociological being, and where people are. Every behavior is influenced by these 3 levels. And to subay obedient and DBiano, to serve the person, the first thing to diagnose it to know, again, the influences self-humano is a spiritual. When you interact with spirit, and to be to call this can will be we no. I say baby, who's that now on cocoa team be still be small shame come, we are not free so. Sana home here do because the spirit of oppression. Some be wait maybe room Shadrach, who better say can will be see where you now when it's what to. Well, who dey why here. So behavior be obedient the DBiano. We nipa who nim dia. The first also who don't know is a spiritual. 2 is a psychological understanding. You tell to obedient personality. Say Shadrach to your cholerica, there's about temperament anyway. We are very impatient because I don't different be about respect. And to anything about can we feel so this is certain no. So then you are looking at psychological elements here. Then we have the sociological, we call psychological nature, environment. And so work around. We better not so here I don't feel no bitter. Hey, we don't mind if you for so me and come about bonnet da. Environment now what na information e wo mu no. Eso impact wo so. Pasowuti. And to be obedient and DB and whether wunimo is influenced by 3 elements. And from my meeting, I said that that's to baby Eddie. Never bomb my money to see by the grace of God, I can correct you. You know why? Because if I discover say a spiritual, you will and I'm will be true. If psychological, in dear winya, and tell who said, Open saw Babua, Bono, and Obi say when you know. And to know himself of a ready to control my wife is by slapping you. That's information. Now psychological. And to want to some do better than maybe when he wants to look. And can you do so better boy? But the dear warrior no so not office. What that told me to do cause of ampo. Me worry my wife, me name cause so that. Na start air rewind the adrenaline. The adrenaline when you who says how by me to put anyhow no. I feel you more another higher knowledge to now begin to appreciate the woman and say, hey, that woman now to no. Me man come and buy me there no. Wa be imperfect. So knowledge.
Me try no me producer say ye bre no aye be na me ma osi ma na fa nsema ya kan nyina no sisi a obo no tofa ne fapem pa ever since sisi a
na me wo questions bebre me pesa aka me
bisa yes emefa wo ya bisa
aha
yeah part 2
producer say me bisa baako me pesa nka odi yen efemu forms of abuse no o say we start na ye ka say your physical abuse emotional abuse psychological abuse obi wo ho no mu a o hwe yen ono no de onima na the physical abuse enti pesa we explaining the forms of abuse
so and kawe na I do so we say question say you say chemu we need to explain a lot of so for now.
Where pacho?
You can be able to be an abuse, our experience aside the physical, which we know. Or baby or melancholy, for instance, no, or no june. And when you think that can be saying emotionally, no, what will pull down? And or one will be a cholerica. She is going to go through a lot of emotional abuse because choleric can be impatient. When you're in the cancer, man, what Nippon commit and such a woman for the rest of her life is going to go through emotional abuse because if you say, Bama Ben Mawarini, or Betiano. Are you getting it? Yeah. So there are most women today who are going through emotional abuse. And unfortunately for them, their husband don't even know they are taking them through that. Because any personality. There's one thing people don't know. You can't change people's personality. You can change people's mindset. It's all about knowledge, you know. So can you look at your husband and look at you and tell the abuse that we go through? Most women today are going through that. And unfortunately for them, their husband don't even know they are putting them through. On top of that, I want to say, look, being a choleric, this is who you are. You can shout, you can anyhow. But Obana worrying on so a sound and any problem. Sound they short movement, and melancholy for training, they are very thoughtful. Over to who the whole day, the whole year. At some back and to when it's urbanity, be careful see if you are no day. Ever. Because anywhere they feel no piano, you are going to abuse her. If it's I don't know, and you can change someone. Are you getting it? So most women today are going through that, but as you said, no, because you no money into no, or find say normal, but you can bring your self-esteem down. And my because Felicia, me decree for my husband. Yesterday I was having a comment, no be account, America channel. So we are now we are melancholic. Now we are sanguine. Sound before me pachoka. Here you be able to this here. Collect phone pachoka. What's your crown? Now you who say, Maya, that's how we do it. They can't apologize. Common apology from him will never come. So you see, when you want to interpret some of these things, no, you need to break a whole level down. And to your banner with you based on even temperament, no, then you know. So one work until melancholy, I tell them they are candidate for depression. Because more genetic, until addicted to be original, and when it's more, and what should come to about them. Yes, and so most women are struggling because of husband and our any more such a banner claim him, and when you look so.
Yeah, that's it, baby. I'm say, no, I a bit. Since now you can't, no. Now a questions in the baby were hot, but as a time, no, I a yint no, as I say, ye DC has say, now patrol counselor and apostle. Bit me the number so at to draw am I. Okay, we are chef now, show me about the number bit me a friend 0249 450 772 0249 450 772. Better Apostle Thomas Kusi-Appiah, counselor papa me sure say nsema waka no ye nyina ya educate ye ho anapai me sure say emrepem no ye besan invite counselor na wasan ne yen aba betwetwe enkomo baby aye duri de ye beko a very short break na ye ba ye beto aso.